Good day, everybody. Welcome to The Hive, a new channel for everything gaming, where fun, excitement, and inclusion are going to thrive. Every day will be a new adventure, full of laughs, struggles, and community. Please join us on this journey, and if you want to see more, make sure you high-five that like button, comment to join in the conversation, and subscribe to join our swarm. Today, we are looking at the Elden Ring Convergence Mod, and it's been out for a little while. It's in an alpha test right now. A lot of people haven't had a chance really to see it or interact with it. I've played a lot of Elden Ring on my PlayStation 5, but I wanted to mod. I wanted to experience the modding community with Elden Ring, as I have a real passion for the game. I haven't played Dark Souls 1 much, not in a long time. I haven't played Dark Souls 2 like all, and I've very dabbled in Dark Souls 3. Those are games I want to play here on the channel. But I wanted to start off with the Elden Ring Convergence. I just want to play it again. DLC, maybe sometime in the next decade we'll get it. So I just wanted a new way to play it. So I figured I'd introduce what the Convergence Mod is in this video, kind of go over some of the key features about what's been changed. But this video won't be us actually playing it. I just want to do an introduction and get things started. As you can see, because it is a mod, if you look over here, you will see that you are offline. You have no risk of invasions, nothing like that. Other mods don't work with the Elden Ring Convergence mod. There is one that does, and it's not popping up here for some reason, so maybe I played with some settings, but the Seamless Co-op mod does work. So if you want to play with friends, Seamless Co-op allows you to fully engage in the world. They don't disappear after a boss dies, so start to finish you can have friends with you. You do have to set a password, etc., or else anybody could technically, in theory, join you, but there is no risk of invasions, nothing like that. Thank God. I hate invasions. Always happens in the worst spot. So as you can see, we have the same options, you know, quick game system, login, new game. I have games I was playing with, trying to figure a couple things out. So let's go into new game. So what the developers tried to do, and you can find them, I'll have a link in the description for their actual page. The world is still the same Elden Ring world, and all the areas are still the same. Some areas have been tweaked and redesigned. I think Lake of Rot is one of them. They, added in Limgrave, there's a windmill village where there's never been a windmill village, like the Altus Plateau. So they've done a little bit of world shifting a bit. Some bosses have been changed. There's Erdtree Sentinels now instead of just the Erdtree avatars. Some bosses have been boosted because the mod actually brings a little bit more power into the game. And so they're trying to make it a more full experience. The typical stuff's still the same. Your body type's still the same. Age is still the same. Levels are all around that 9 to 12, 15 mark in there. You can still edit your appearance. That hasn't shifted at all. What changes is you have Origin and your Keepsakes. So we'll look at Keepsakes first. So the Golden Seed is still there. Absolutely, get your free flask. The Fanged Imp Ashes are still there. And the Bewitching Branch is still there. Everything else, and the Rune, and the Lands Between Rune. Everything else is new. Sacred Tear, get a nice flask upgrade right off the bat. And not a horrible choice. I still wouldn't choose it. Memory Stone, extra memory slot, so if you are planning on doing a caster style build, I would probably recommend a Memory Stone. Though, let's be real, it's about these three. The Combat Remnant, so what they did is they added a Remnant crafting system to the game. Nowhere in the world will you find talismans, I believe. Don't quote me on that, but as far as I know, you cannot find talismans out in the world. Your talismans are kept in these remnants. So when you choose the Combat Remnant or any of the others, you have to rest at a site of grace. And when you rest at the site of grace, there's going to be a list, just like there is for everything. Your flask of physic, your level up, etc. There's going to be a remnant crafting section. So if you take the Combat Remnant, it's going to give you the ability of crafting a combat style talisman. And the best as I can gather, this is the dagger, the axe, the hammer, the curved sword, and the twin blade. I think there's a couple other talismans too. The heirloom remnant is So the heirloom talismans, so like Two Fingers heirloom, Stargazer, prosthesis wearing heirloom, these all increase your given stat by 6. So instead of faith was like, I don't know, 2 or whatever for the faith heirloom, instead it would increase your faith by 6. Not a bad choice. This is the ultimate one though, Enchanted Remnant, and from just my gist of kind of playing around a little bit, there's really no reason ever to take anything else except for the Enchanted Remnant. Unless you're going a combat focus build, then the Combat Remnant's probably a better choice, but Enchanted Remnant, that's all your elemental resistance talismans, which all give a 50% boost to the selected element. Your status resist talismans, and all the status ones, so the ones that did, you gain a little bit of robustness, increase your immunity a bit, they actually give you immunity to those statuses. So the one poison and rot one, you are immune to poison and rot. The Godfrey and Radicon icons are in the enchanted ones. The scarabs, the gold and silver scarab is there. So the Dragon Crest Great Shield Talisman gives you 25% damage negation to physical attacks. So Enchanted Remnant generally is your best one. So those are all yours. So I'll just pick that just because. Origins. So this is where the mod really shines. There are 27 classes. 27 classes. They have taken the General School of Magic and they've broken them off into separate schools. So we'll go through that as we get down there. The top, of course, it gives you a breakdown. It says, okay, this guy is a stalwart knight, classically trained in the sword and shield. You can see what your character looks like, what it's going to be starting with, all on the right side, as well as their stats and their level. They also tell you it is a strength dex focused character, is how they've started it. Your Vanguard. This is a strength dex melee one. As you can see, he's got looks like a greatsword. Marksman. They actually have a bow build made, and they've kind of retweaked bows a little bit in the game so that they're a lot more viable. Berserker. Again, this one is a strength character. He is focused on being a melee hack and slash. Dreadnought. Again, another strength, but with a little shift. If you look between the stats, they've kind of balanced out his stats a little bit better, giving him a little bit more health. Sellsword. That's your dex focused. Okay, he's got a twin blade. I think that's a twin blade, yeah. Rogue, again, dex style combat, but with smaller weaponry. Now this is where it changes. Glint, this is magic, okay? So this is the Glintstone Sorcerer. Now when you look at it, student of Glintstone and Carrion Sorceries. They've combined the two into one school of magic. It is an int focused. They've taken out like Carrion... The one that has little swords that go above your head and shoot out, they've gotten rid of those out of the Carrion school. So some spells in all the schools have been shifted and pulled out, and redesigned, repurposed, etc. for another school of magic. Starcaller. Okay, so Starcaller is your physical focused. All intents and purpose, they are a gravity sorcerer. They focus on the physical damage spells. Before, you only had like Gravity Well, Collapsing Stars, Meteorite of Estelle. There was, I think, only 5 or 6 gravity spells. I think there's over 20 now. I think every school of magic has about 20 to 25 spells for it. So it really flushes out that role play aspect of, I want to be a gravity sorcerer. I want to be a pure glintstone sorcerer. I think it's a lot more refreshing. And you start with the gear, like things have been rebalanced. Underworld Mage. This one I find really fascinating. It focuses on frozen lightning. So that spell I mentioned earlier about the with the swords that appear above your head and shoot off, as like a defensive spell, they repurpose that into a frozen lightning. So it does the same thing, but a little orb appears, charges up, and then shoots out a piece of frozen lightning. A lot of these spells, they apply frostbite. So it's not quite a cold mage. you still get the lightning aspect. It's very focused on doing lightning damage, but there's also some frostbite buildup on a lot of their spells. I actually really like the Underworld Mage. I think the concept of it's actually really cool. I was a little upset that there was only like 1 or 2, 3 frozen spells in the whole game for Dragonkin, considering there's 1, 2, 3 of them in the game. So it's really cool that they went back and actually flushed that out a bit. The Vulcanist is an Int Faith caster, and they focus on lava magic. As you can see by the really cool looking sword there, that's a Gelmir staff, boosts lava spells. And so they really changed how lava spells work. They flushed them out again. There's like 25 lava spells. You can shoot a lava spell up and it will fall forever. So it's got, if you arc it, it's going to hit its target. So if you're high above and you shoot down, it's still going to hit the ground no matter what. It's not going to fizzle out. So it adds some cool tactical things you can do there. They shifted how staffs function. So if you look at this guy, he's an Int Faith caster. So the staffs that you use are intelligence and faith. And unlike before, where you would say, okay, I'm going to take my intelligence to 99, then I'm going to take my faith to 99, the cap is 50-50. So you only need to take, say, intelligence to 50, and then start working on faith to get to faith to 50. And now you'll have capped out your damage stat for, that kind of class that you're trying to play. If you're doing a pure caster, like the Glintstone Sorcerer, 99 is the cap. Like, you'll want to get your stat there to maximize your damage. So I think that's really another cool aspect. It really creates that hybridization and allows your points to go into other abilities to further increase your survivability. Stormcaller, wind magic. So they're all about, tornadoes, gusts of bursts. If you've ever used the Stormcaller Ash of War, that's kind of where this came from. So there's been a lot of new creations revolving around that because there's not really wind spells. They fleshed it out really well. It's physical damage, physical faith damage. I haven't really looked at it, so I don't really know. That's all going to be part of this channel. Part of some of the creations on videos on this channel is we're going to play through. We're going to experience some of these classes. The Nox Oracle. So again, Int Faith, magic-based damage. This is using, you start with the Nox Flowing Sword, I believe, if I remember that correctly. This one I don't know a ton about. I've seen a couple interactions with it. It looks like it's a really cool, fun class. So I'm intrigued to see. The Necromancer. So we haven't got... Deathblight has been reworked. We all know how useless Deathblight was in the base game. It was useless. It was only useful on NPCs and not on standard monsters. Well, Deathblight's been fully reworked. No enemy in the game can avoid Deathblight. However, what Deathblight does is it lowers an enemy's elemental resist or status effect resistance by 50%. And increases lowers their absorption by 20% for about 30 seconds. So once you get Deathblight to proc, they're going to start taking considerable more damage. They did tweak the Necromancer so it can inflict a secondary status. I think it was bleed. I could be wrong on that. But they gave it a secondary status effect so that it could proc quicker. So you're not just, hey, cool, here is Deathblight. I don't have any reason to use a second status because I don't have one. So they made it so that it does have a extra status effect build up for that purpose. You also might have noticed when you look at the items, notice how they all start with like a remnant somewhere. But when you look at the Necromancer, the top row on the far right, they start with a Spirit Bell. Summons are a little different from what I've gathered during this mod. Not everybody can summon. The Necromancer can. Now the difference we'll go into detail when I actually play the Necromancer. But you could use summons anywhere, and you can summon them an unlimited amount of time. But when you summon them, a portion of your max HP, MP or FP, and stamina comes off. You're kind of transferring it to them. Necromancer does have a spell that you can use to actually get all that back. You can also buff them so that they also heal over time, your summons. They are a little weaker in response, but you do get the ability of using summons. I don't know how many there are in the game. I don't know how they work. I don't know any of that. I've just seen that the Necromancer has the ability to do it, which I think is kind of fitting. I think it's fitting for that class. That gives them that real Necromancer roleplay, so to speak. They play with a lot of the death spells as well. You know, Fia's Mist is one of the starting. The really crappy Tibia Summons, it didn't get any better. They said it's actually a really really hard spell to manipulate because it doesn't work like it looks like, where the 3 skeletons slash. It's not these skeletons that are actually hitting. There's invisible bullets apparently that come out and hit the enemy, and interacting with those kind of screws with the whole spell. So that's one that they're hoping that they can correct for the future. They think they have a way to correct it, but it is death magic, which I think is really cool. They expanded, added some really cool death spells from the looks of it. So that's probably one of my picks near the beginning to play. Frost Witch. Frost sorceries, they gave them a nice boost. They added a whole bunch. They expanded others to make them bigger. It's all about, as you can see, the Frost Rapier is one of your starting weapons, as well as the Carrion Regal Scepter by the looks of it. Again, notice how you do start with higher arcane, so they're really focusing on that, you know, intelligence, and it tells you right there, intelligence, arcane, build that frostbite. You know, rip that chunk of health off, make them take more. I think it'll be really fun, especially from those few spell interactions I've seen. Here's the much anticipated Aberrant Heretic. And in case you didn't know, in the first game there are 2 aberrant spells, thorn sorceries as we like to call them. And they sucked. They were horrible. They buffed them. They buffed them. They didn't really get much better, and the fact there was only 2, there's a set of armor that buffed thorn sorceries, but we still only have 2, so what the hell was the point? Well, the team over Convergence, they saw the problem and said, hey, let's make a whole bunch more. There's like 25 thorn sorcery spells now. So now you can do it. They've changed some of the spell interactions. Bleed was, I think, overall nerfed a little bit in this, because Bleed's always been stupid powerful. And so this, I think, will really get that feeling of being a Bloodmancer. I think it'll be really cool. Again, we'll have to see when the time comes. But as you can see, they start with every magic class always starts with a weapon and a staff. Again, like they've changed, there is no staffs that do like, hey, 20% extra damage to thorn sorceries, whatever. They kind of got rid of all those extra buffs and just balanced out the scaling a lot better. Fire Prophet. You can probably guess what the Fire Prophet is. It's all about fire spells. They took the giant flame spells, they combined them with the pyro spells, made everything into one. Fire is fire. There are some really cool looking fire spells. They all do really cool things. Catch Flame's still in the game, still called Catch Flame. They tweaked numbers, things like that. Like they balanced it out a little bit better. They still have, I think it's Giant's Flame Take Thee, where you throw the big fireball. They still have a lot of those things. Flame of the Fell God, it's a little bit better than it was. They renamed some so that it's not, everything's more pyro-y and not specific to a school of magic. I think it was really well done, from what I could see. Fundamentalist, my first playthrough in Elden Ring, I pushed for a holy person. I had the veteran's armor on, I had gold masks, face, and I went with rings of light, triple rings of light. Like I went the holy route. This is your holy damage person. They are a pure faith caster. They focus specifically on holy damage and your holy spells. Holy spells got a really big rework from what I could gather. They kind of balance things out, resistances, etc. across the board. Another one I'm really excited to try and play. I'm curious to see if they still have gold mask stuff in there. I'm actually really kind of interested about that. Bestial Devout, more beast spells. They added more. They balanced out the things that are already in the game. That you're basically a faith physical caster. This is another one. Again, I always wanted to RP one of the bestial clergymen, but again, when you have 5 spells and only one of them's actually really half decent, and the others like decent for PvP but not for PvE, it kind of sucks. So I'm glad that these guys saw that and they were able to work with that. Dragon Cultist, fuck, this is one I am so excited for. This one takes the red lightning. It's mostly all about the red lightning, the super lightning spells. It's a faith lightning damage caster. Like one of your weapons that you go for right away is the Draconic Tree Sentinel. Get the axe. They changed its Ash of War to make it pretty epic, I would say. Yeah, there's not much else to say about it. You start with the Gravelstone Seal as well, by the looks of it there. Again, the seal won't boost lightning damage. It's just got better scaling to it. What else do we got down here? But my number one most favorite, the Godskin Celebrant. Intelligence, Faith, Holy Damage Caster. This one is all about your Black Flame. And as you can see, you start with the, I forget what they call it. I think that's actually the name, is the Celebrant, is the weird sword thing. The Windmill Village and Altus Plateau, the dancing, cackling people, the Celebrant weapons as they're called. You actually start with one of those, and all of the Godskin weapons have been added a new debuff on them called Soul Flame, I believe. So when you hit somebody with them, like they all should have in the base game, they apply the Black Flame debuff, where a little bit of health ticks off. Not as much as, the spells do, but they still do. Every Black Flame spell applies the Soul Burn, that's what it's called. All applies the Soul Burn, so chunks of HP are ripped off, and I think there's a set percentage now. Black Flame spells are pretty wild. They're pretty awesome looking. They tweaked some of the older ones, like Black Flame's Protection. I think they might have nerfed it just slightly, but added something to it. Again, we're going to look at all that. I think it's really cool because it's like everyone... I wanted to play a Godskin so badly in the main game, but they just didn't give enough. Like, the armor was absolute trash, and like, why would I want to wear it? Like, it sucks. It just gives me no protection. They tweaked it this time. I didn't really mention it before, but when you start a game and you load into the game, you'll get two notebooks, so to speak, and they'll tell you, this is where your magic is. Go to these places, and you'll find this rune, this one, this one, this one. Well, also tells you armor and weapons to look out for, and like the Godskin Apostle set. Each piece increases the damage of your Godskin spells, as well as reduces your FP cost of those spells. And so when you wear the full set, you'd get, I think it's like 20% reduction in cost, and I think it's like a 15 or 16% increase in damage or something like that, something along those lines. So it makes it worth to wear that set. And so you can actually roleplay those things. You can choose not to, but it's an option. I think that is absolutely amazing idea for the creators that made this mod. That this set looks really cool and it's meant for this purpose, but it's trash in the base game because you're squishy as hell. So if you're not a no-hit runner, you're gonna get hit. You don't want to get hit for as much. You want to leave room for mistake. Frenzied Zealot. If you want to be one of the crazy nomads, you can. They added so many Frenzy Flame spells. I don't know if they retweaked how Madness works. I know that everything can, I think, be affected by Madness now. But I'm not 100% sure on the status. There is nowhere compiled a list of what these statuses do. I haven't been able to find it. So we're gonna find out together. Yeah, Frenzy Flame spells, they're all pretty awesome. Intelligence Faith Caster, you get the fingerprint seal instead of the Frenzied Flame seal. Huh? They changed it and made it more Vike focused. Yeah, Blood Initiate, cool. If you want to be the War Surgeon, remember White Mask? It's all about the Blood Flame spells. So they added more Blood Flame, which again, I absolutely love. I was sad that there was only like 4 Blood Flame spells in the whole damn game. Like, why have a School of Magic with 2 or 4 spells in it? It doesn't make any sense to me. So they said, screw that. We like Everyone likes this concept. Guess what you're probably working toward? Mohg's Sacred Spear, I'm going to assume. Probably the Sanguine Noble's armor set. That's kind of where I'm leaning that they're probably going to focus. So again, that's going to be a direction we're going to focus at some point. Servant of Rot. Whoop, whoop, where we go? Servant of Rot. Okay, so this one's really cool. This one's poison and rot focus. Faith and Arcane, of course, because you want your Arcane to go up. To better enhance, you know, your status effects. They did nerf Rot. Rot in the first game, you could, if you got it, especially early in the game, which you could, if you were to go get the Servant of the Rot Dog, you could get in Caelid really early on, and then you can go fight Margit, and you could actually like destroy Margit with them with just Rot. Rot was really busted in the early game. Not so much in the later game, but in the early game you could really take advantage of it. They nerfed Rot quite a bit. It doesn't last nearly as long, so you're not getting any more of those cheeky kills with it. But it still has a place. It still could be effective. I just don't know how much they nerfed it or how bad. Same thing with Poison. They did a little nerf to Poison and how Poison works. But again, if they have a class based on it, I'm sure it still finds a way to be really effective. The Mystic. So lots of sleep. Faith and Arcane based. They focus on sleep and like the ancestral side of things. So like the ancestral followers, you know, that tribe that was in like the Riverwell, that's kind of where they kind of made their own little school of magic with it. And they took a lot of the sleep aspect, brought sleep into it. I haven't looked at it. I'm very curious. Some things from what I've seen don't seem to be as effective. I'm sure they're going to get some love. But I did like what I somewhat saw. I like the idea of, you know, because the ancestors we all been shot by those stupid fucking archers that can hit you from behind, you know, from across the map, behind the wall. They still hit you. I hate them so much. But I think it's cool that they gave them a focus and gave them their own perspective, because they would have their own style of magic. You know, they're praying to their ancestors. They're, you know, getting, you know, magic and inspiration from the past. I think that's actually cool. So we'll have to look at them. Perfumer. So consumables, perfumes. They built a class for it. Now, from the gist, from what I saw, I've seen one person talk about it. Focus on arcane crafting. But apparently there's no... I didn't see... Unless they have it there. Crossbow, no. I don't see anything there. There's... The Perfumer Talisman is in the... Enchanted Remnant crafting. I did not see the companion jar. So I don't know if you can get the companion jar in the game or not. That I don't know. I would hope so, because, you know, if you're going to be running a perfumer, you're probably running a consumable run. Lots of consumables. From what I gather, there is no weapon upgrades, things like that. I'm not 100% sure. I saw one person do it, and he's like, yeah, it's kind of depressing because there's some stuff that's not there. Looks like they didn't create anything specifically for a consumable run. Even though, like, right here you can see it says, you know, focus is arcane crafting. So that one we're gonna have to check out. I've been trying to do a consumable run, but I figured I want to do it for the mod maybe. So that'll be another focus that maybe we'll try and play on. And then the prisoner. You can't have a mod without having your level 1 character, build him how you want, complete nothing. I don't know how his start's going to be. But it'll be really interesting. So the only thing else that we're going to add here, number 1, I'll let you know what. Let's just do this. Let's just start a game just to show you how the start of basically everybody works. Which one have I played with already? Vulcanist. Cool. Let's do that. We'll enter a name. We're gonna call it. Let's just call this one Hive Chat. There we go. Let's do that. Yeah, just Hive. Don't care about the rest. We're choosing Enchanted Remnant. I'm going to show you that really quick. Hit enter because it's picky. And let's hit finish. Sure, that'll be us. Normally I'm going to be playing this on controller, not mouse and keyboard. I'm more comfortable with controller. Honestly, I feel that Elden Ring is better played on a controller. So we still have our, your typical start. And here we are. So we load into the game. You can already see that we have 3 spells. We have our staff, we have our sword, we have flasks already. We start in the same starting room, but this is where it gets different. You go and you loot your body. Get your wise finger, yep. You start with the whetstone knife. You start with your flask, and you start with the crafting kit. Let's actually have a quick peek at crafting kit, and just see if we, from what I remember, yeah, you start with every recipe in the game. As you can see, all recipes. So you don't have to worry about finding those stupid cookbooks. And you hit the golden door. Now this is where every class is a little bit different. There is no more tutorial boss. Every class will start in a different area of the map. And I believe the game is scaled based on where you start, class to class a little bit. So here, you see, we start in Caelid. And there are some differences. Now let's see if I remember. How do I trigger my map? Zed? No. Bear with me here, I don't remember what my map button is. That's swing, that's spells. Oh yeah, see here's an example of a new spell. Lava spell. Da-da-da. I think this switches it. Yeah, magma shot. You can charge it. Boom. We'll leave some magma on the ground. And then your other spell, which I think is really cool. Magma stride. Hoorah. We'll figure that stuff out in a second. We'll touch our grace, which is really nice that we start next to him. We'll rest, and just to show you remnant crafting. So here you have enchanted remnant, and now you click when you click on it. Cool. Received power. Pick which one you want. Notice how it says boost magical damage negation by 50%. Now this could be crazy because you can't grab this. You got to touch this stupid thing down here. This one's 20% non-physical, 25% physical damage. Now see these, grants immunity to poison and rot, immunity to bleed and frostbite, immunity to madness and sleep, immunity to death. Now these ones raises robust immunity and focus, so I'm not really sure how that one's going to work considering the other ones give you immunity, but maybe the base effects still work. Primal Glintstone, Moon of Noxtella, we still have all of these. See, now there's the Perfumer Talisman. No companion jar. So I'm not sure if that was an oversight on them. I'm going to message them and see. Maybe they forgot about it, because it's not, as far as I know, it's not in the other ones. But I also forgot, I didn't look afterward that you could move it down there. So maybe in the combat, it's in the combat one. So that's all you'll do. We'll just click on one randomly here. What's a good one to start for us being Volcano? Sure, enhanced charge spells. Let's choose the Godfrey icon. Cool. Voila, it uses it. And Q back. Sure. Inventory, does I work? No. Equip. The other thing you notice, you start with all 4 talisman slots right off the bat. Godfrey icon. Oh, yes. And if we go over here, yes. And this is what the other thing that's different with every class is, here. Gelmir Lava Staff, even though we already have one, which is, I think, a bug, maybe, of the mod. So now you get Faint Rune of Magma, Path of this, and Path of this. Well, we already have, technically, the Faint Rune of Magma. So you learn several new lava sorceries. Well, let's use it. We already have Lava Dart, we already have Magma Shot, and we already have Molten Stride. So I'm not sure why those are there. I think they're maybe placeholders because of the mod. However, we did get X. Here we go. So when you read these, so Path of the Volcanist, when you hit R, every class will get one of these. So it tells you you're primarily an intelligence and faith with fire damage. So the following locations have magma spell runes. So Shimmering Rune of Magma, Calum Runes. Volcano Manor has the next one. Given by Tanith after defeating Juno Hoslow is another one, and after defeating Theodorix, which is in the Consecrated Snowfield. So when you complete those tasks, you will get another rune like I did, which will have more spells in it when you use it. Then at the bottom, notable armor sets for the Volcanist is the Consort sets, so Tanith's Corpse, Gelmir Knight set in the Gelmir Hero's Grave, and Hoslow set after defeating him. And they will most likely have bonuses that'll support your class. This one, notable weapons. So again, Molten Sword, the Blasphemous Blade, Magma Blade, which instead of having to farm those stupid magma people to get, you just got to get the Flightless Bird painting. Magma Worm Scale Sword, which Devourer's Scepter, the Seething Flail, the Inquisitor's Grant, there's 3 alone in Volcano Manor. That's not bad. So every class is laid out like this. You know, they'll have weapons, they'll have armor, they'll tell you where to get the spells, so it's not hard to play your class. You know, you've got to get there, and obviously you got to get it, but you're set up for success. You don't have to figure out in this newly designed world where to find things. You start with Torrent's Whistle. Yeah, here you go. Oh, this is what they did. So before, you know, this is what I forgot. So before they showed you, if you got the Gravelstone Seal, cool, extra bonus to this. Or Carrion Regal Scepter, you get 20% bonus to Carrion Sorceries. Well, what they did here instead is when you look, so look at the staff. Lesser magma affinity, so I'm going to assume that it gives you lesser magma damage, a little boost to magma. Physical damage, moderate, so if you were to cast, say, Rock Sling with it, it's going to be moderate damage. Magic spells, you're going to do better damage. Fire is optimal. You're going to do more damage using this to cast fire spells. However, if you use this staff and cast lightning spells, you're going to do less damage than, say, if you were to use, you know, maybe the Carrion Regal Scepter. Maybe it does okay lightning damage. So the staff you wield actually matters a little bit more than, you know, boosting a set of sorceries. This staff is not good for lightning, period. Doesn't matter what style of lightning spell, it's not good for doing lightning damage. Yeah. So it looks like that's the direction they went. What does this one do? Molten Sword, Magma Showers, it's unique. Slash the foe, yeah, so, you know, if it's, let's see if I even know how to do these things, because that's that, so maybe shift? Maybe shift R2. Okay, yeah, so, and then, yeah, that's your Ash of War. So, actually, you know what? I think that's about it for today. So yeah, as you can see, and as you look up, you'll see that my FP is slowly regenerating. That is also one of the effects of the new mod, is they've given passive FP regeneration. There's lots of other ways to get FP regeneration to make it speedier, make it quicker. But they felt that it was a necessary component just to get rid of some of that really quality of life. You're stuck in an area, you have no FP flasks, you are a magic user, you're fucked. You're screwed. So, I think it's a wonderful idea. I don't think it's too OP, because it's not like it's, you know, rapidly increasing. Boss fight is still a boss fight. Still tight, you're out of FP, you're going to drink a flask. You're not going to run around for a minute. Oh, excuse me, a minute for it to come back. So, I think that's everything for today, folks. We have explored all the classes. I've shown you a little bit of how it works. We are going to start some games here soon. Fire in the chat what class that you would like to see down in the comments below. Please remember to high five that like button and subscribe to stay up to date. You know, I'm planning on to explore a wild variety of games on the channel. I'm an avid DVD player. I love Dead by Daylight. I'm going to have some guides coming up soon of a new series that I'm starting called Embrace the Suck, where we explore killers that I am terrible with, and we use their base power to try and get a little bit better. I play a lot of little head thing there. I play a lot of RTSs, 4X strategy games. I plan on, playing a lot of Elden Ring Convergence. Subnautica, I'm going to try doing a hardcore run here soon with a few like aggressive fauna mods, things like that. Absolutely love survival games. I do have a Twitch channel. It's linked in the description below. I don't stream yet. I'm working toward that. I love video games. I decided I want to start streaming them. I'm still learning how to edit videos. That's a new thing for me. That's why this one's pretty straightforward. But yes, I thank you for your time. I thank you for your patience. But we have lots of stuff coming up for you. And that's everything. Have yourselves a wonderful day, and we will see you in the next one.